We learned a great many lessons from these battles in World War II, in some cases the hard way. And one of the things we did was we were able to develop additional landing craft and tactics, such as the LCU, landing craft utility, and how we were able to use them, for example, at Incheon in the Korean War, during the Vietnam War. We developed the Brown Water Navy, as a lot of veterans refer to it, in the Mekong and its tributaries. We learned about additional tactics. We learned how to tighten up our formations. We learned to gain the element of surprise. We learned to develop naval gunfire support to a fine art. We eventually developed vertical envelopment when we introduced helicopters, and that enabled us to simultaneously land and flank the enemy on both sides of the beaches at all times, which was tremendous strategic and tactical flexibility.
We've come a long way since World War II. We no longer line up, 100 ships and send them towards a beach that's full of enemy defenses. That was very costly in World War II. It was the best that they could do at the time with the technology and the capabilities that they had, so they didn't have much of a choice. But nowadays, we want to go where the enemy's not, so we want to gain access without going into the teeth of the enemy. So we have those capabilities with our aircraft to be able to fly in, especially the MV-22 gives us a lot longer range to be able to insert Marines and troops ashore from the sea. We also have our LCACs, our hovercraft landing craft capability that goes a lot faster than the landing craft they had in World War II, so a lot longer range with that. We can keep our ships basically over the horizon, where they're protected somewhat from the threat more than they were in the World War II era. We still have a forcible entry capability. So with our amphibious ships partnered with the Carrier Strike Group and with all the other abilities that we have, we're able to gain access into countries where we need to gain access to. We're able to put Marines ashore either with our aircraft or our landing craft, and also with their armored vehicles, the AAVs that they have.
We are the legitimate backbone of all amphibious operation. You have certain platforms that are faster than us, but they can only hit in certain areas. Okay, certain beaches are able to scale. Like I said, we're just like the Higgin boats. We're effective anywhere. As long as there is a coastline, we can get up on it and do what we have to do. We can handle anything as large as 3 M1 Abrams tanks on board, and taking that to a beach and offloading it.
We've evolved over the years with a lot of lessons learned from our brother and sister that sailed before us, and how to make sure we do this thing, more precisely, safely, and with better technology. And that's the key thing. I think the technology has allowed us to be more precise in acquiring the target, and then putting things in place pretty much exactly where it's supposed to be.
The LCAC gives the operational commanders the ability to do an over-the-horizon assault. We can operate 200 nautical miles from the host ship. That allows us a lot of leeway on the beachfront. We can carry a 60-ton payload at speeds up to 50 knots. We open up the world shoreline. A traditional LCU could hit about 15 to 17% of the shoreline throughout the world. We hit about 70% because we don't have to worry about things like reefs and shallow water depth. So it opens up the beach. Our training, we train around our H hour, the time that we're going to hit the beach. And the idea is that the beach is clear when we hit it. We bring the Marines ashore quickly because we're fast. We bring them, they stand up the force, and they go in and fight the war. But it's all around that same time principle where the bombardment's completed. We're going in as the last shells are hitting. And as soon as that H hour goes, we cross the beach, drop the ramps, let the Marines go, and carry on the battle plan.
Do we have the capability to do a forcible entry opposed? We do, but with possibly significant casualties and problems that go with that. So we want to go where the enemy's not, gain access, and then use our maneuver warfare capability to get around the enemy and attack those critical vulnerabilities, vice a head-to-head, assault the beach, frontal assault on the beach, World War II type thing.